Oh, man. Wake up, Kool-Aid. What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you for choosing to kick off the day with the Woo Crew. Man, so much energy yesterday. So much energy in the city. And we got a Detroit Pistons playoff game in LC. It was a lot of hope. And that was the thing that I heard from a lot of different fans and people we interacted with is just how hopeful it is. But, JB, let's get those videos, man. Just to give you guys a little bit, we were boots on the ground. We got some pregame video. We got postgame video. And then we can just hear from T Grizzly right after that, too.
All right, let's try this out.
What up, though, people? We're at LCA where Game 3 between Pistons and Knicks is about to go down, and you can already feel something a little bit different. Chevrolet Plaza is rocking. Fans already lining up at the door, and the players are out here getting it in the shoot-around. This is a great opportunity for the Detroit Pistons to take a stranglehold in this series and go up 2-1 on the home court, taking advantage of all the energy that you know the city of Detroit is going to bring. Stay tapped in, man. Let's go, Detroit Pistons, Woodward Sports. Man, what a game. This is not the result you want tonight. 118-116, the Knicks, they take this one, and they take this one because Jalen Brunson, he put up a big game. 30 points, like 9 assists, 7 rebounds. He was on one, and you know what? The Knicks, they played a lot tougher. We're about to go to the press conference and talk about it, but let me know what you feel about this series for the Pistons. The Knicks take a 2-1 series lead now. And the Detroit Pistons, they fought to the end, but they're going to have to definitely pull out all the big stops on Sunday to try and even this series. Hey, let's rock. What up, though, man? You got to talk to me about this environment. How's it going to go down tonight for the Pistons?
Man, we in the playoffs, man. You feel me? The Pistons about to get the dub. Send them boys back to the East Coast.
Hey, send them back to the East Coast.
Yes,
You
sir.
blinged out for the occasion right now.
I got my wife with me.
Hey, let's
I got
go.
HD with me.
Let's go.
Got Josh with me.
Hey, let's go. Hey,
Got
that's how you
my
go.
son somewhere up in the suite. I got Obama with me.
Hey, let's rock.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you.
Obama chain,
Did
bro.
you see?
An iced out Obama chain.
Listen, the Detroit Stars showed up last night. When you talk about Detroit setting the stage and showing the NBA that, yes, you want to be able to have all-star games here. Yes, you want to make sure we get our fair share of the whistles because Cade Cunningham didn't. He got 3 free throw attempts last night, despite playing as aggressive as we saw him play in Game 2. But the environment, just to kind of start there before we get into the breakdown and preview of the Game 4, which is Sunday, man. Like, these turnarounds seem to just be, like, right away. It was an awesome environment. We got to talk to a lot of fans who we will show some of those videos. So I know we have some people who are watching this morning who we got to talk to yesterday who said that they watch the show, they support the show, they appreciate everything that we do. And that stuff means the world. And that's what I do know that the Pistons fans, that's what they did bring to the Detroit Pistons last night. They did their part. The F. Brunson chants all night were epic. The let's go defense, from the final countdown, and they battled all night. But this team needs a little bit more. They need a little bit more. You knew that the New York Knicks were going to come out swinging. You knew that they were going to come out and fight. You knew that Jalen Brunson was going to try and push the issue to get to the free throw line. And the Pistons, they fall just short. I do appreciate their fight. 118-116 loss to the Knicks. But that second half, it seemed to be just in complete control of the New York Knicks, and you got a renewed effort out of guys like Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, who I believe in that second half of the game, he just played a little bit more pesky. He seemed to be a little bit more confident, a lot more composed. You saw Josh Hart come up big in some of those kind of energy moments, like an extra rebound. I know he had a big layup, a putback layup late in that game as well. And it just seemed like everything down the stretch went the Knicks' way because the Pistons, they spent a lot of energy trying to get back into this thing.
They sure did, and it felt like they were climbing uphill the whole second half. Every time they would cut it to 4 or 3 or 1, or I think they even had a 1-point lead at one point, it was just followed by an immediate, it seemed like 6-0 run by the Knicks. I can't quantify that for sure, but that's just how it appeared to me when I was watching the game. One of my big takeaways from the game, and this is where I've got to give the Knicks a lot of credit. First off, Karl Anthony Towns is the most important player in this series. Not Cade, not Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. Especially in games like last night when the Pistons didn't have somebody like Isaiah Stewart available to harass and probably be the most effective defender on Cat. I think there was a concerted effort both by Karl Anthony Towns, by Jalen Brunson, by Tom Thibodeau to make sure that what happened in game 2 would never happen again, where Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't getting fed. He was getting really shut down in a lot of ways by Tobias Harris, and he was just basically taken out of the game. In this game, though, even though I don't think the defense on him was always bad, he was making just a lot of shots. 10 of 18, 4 of 8 from behind the arc, which is what you really worry about with Karl-Anthony Towns because he's one of the best shooting big men ever. 31 points. He was magnificent. And he also played a big role in getting Tobias Harris into foul trouble because when you don't have Isaiah Stewart and when Tobias Harris has to go to the bench, when he has 11 less minutes in game 3 than game 2, there is nothing really that the Pistons can do with Cat. And they found that out. There were times where it looked like to me, and Kool-Aid, hopefully you can confirm this, did Malik Beasley and Dennis Schroeder sometimes have to guard Cat? We're switched onto him, and it's like, that's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not good. And that's the thing. My keys to victory, the number 2 one was keep Cat uncomfortable. Because if Cat goes off, then Cat has a chance to swing this thing. I do push back a little bit on him being the most important player. He's going to be one of your more impactful players for sure. But we've seen the Detroit Pistons weather good games from both Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson when, who I believe the most important player in the series, does score that 30 to 35 points per game, and that's Cade Cunningham. You look at the Pistons losing this game by 2 points last night, and we say you cannot shoot yourself in the foot. So as good of hero ball that I did see from Karl-Anthony Towns, who he definitely changed a lot of the narratives in terms of, like, is he soft? Is he going to show up big for his team? He did everything he was supposed to, but the Detroit Pistons did miss 5 free throws last night, which is something that you don't want to see them do. And as it relates to the turnovers, they cut it down even more from games 1 and games 2, but they did give up 14 turnovers in this game. And that's where, if you're the Detroit Pistons losing by 2 points and not finding the ways to be able to close that gap, it wasn't just what the New York Knicks were doing to make shots, because the Knicks would miss a shot, have a turnover, then make a shot. But the Pistons, what were they doing? Miss a shot, have a turnover, miss a shot. That's how they were answering these runs, and the Knicks were giving them opportunities. Yeah. And that's where I do, if I had to rearrange it, at one point in time I thought it was Cade, Brunson, Cat. But I think it might be, in just my rankings in terms of the importance, it might be Cade, Cat, Brunson. Because when Cat is doing what he's doing last night, I believe he does help make the Knicks that much more difficult to beat, because he makes so many tough shots. And this, you said it right, it's not just Tobias that he's affecting. It's also Ausar Thompson, who again is right back in foul trouble in this game. 18 minutes for Ausar, and that was, I know, somebody that a lot of people believed. Shout out to Kool Cahill as well, who I know the Heavies caught up with and got some content with. And I got to talk to Rachel of CBS Sports, their sports reporter there, and myself as well. Everybody was on this notion that Ausar Thompson could and would affect this game in a positive manner if he could get playing time. But the notion is they're going to have to find a way to stay out of foul trouble. The refs are going to call it the way that they call it. For Cade and Brunson, it's unfortunate that it's more inconsistent for Cade Cunningham. For all the crying that you heard, Jalen Brunson's gotten free throws in every single game. Cade Cunningham got 3 free throw attempts last night. And that, you don't ever want to blame the refs because they still had a chance to win, and we know this. The Pistons have had to win games like that, and they're going to have to. They're going to have to in this series. But when that recipe is set, the Pistons are going to have to do different things, because there's a couple fouls there that Ausar had, and he seems to have these every game. That's just like, bro, don't reach out. Just don't. They'll get a rebound, on offense, they'll miss something, and then he'll just go and reach. And it's like, oh, my word. We need every one of your 6 fouls on your one-on-one defense against Karl-Anthony Towns. That's where we need him spending those fouls, and that's what Stewart does well. That's what they're missing with Isaiah Stewart, not just the toughness and the physicality, because I do believe this entire team is that, but Stewart he's really good at moving his feet on the perimeter and not getting those fouls, but making sure that if I'm going to get a foul, it's going to be utilized at making sure Karl-Anthony Towns is uncomfortable. I just didn't see that last night.
No, unfortunately not. And Ausar Thompson, what's unfortunate is that I thought he actually played pretty well in the third quarter, really helped spur a run when they, I believe, cut a 13-point halftime deficit at 1 point to 2. But I don't think you saw him at all in the fourth quarter, or just very, very limited minutes, 18. It hasn't been his best series, and I'm not going to kill him for it because he's having his fun. But unfortunately, there's people across the board who need to be better moving forward. Of course, it starts with Malik
Tobias
Beasley.
Harris.
Well, Tobias certainly offensively gave you only 5 points on 2 of 9. That's not good enough, and he got in foul trouble. And Malik Beasley, unfortunately, 3 of 18 from deep in his last 2 games. That's not going to get it done. And I understand that Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dennis Schroeder really picked up the slack when it comes to three-point shooting, but he was a deserving sixth man of the year in the regular season, and unfortunately, Malik Beasley hasn't answered the playoff allegations just yet. Game 4, big game for him. I expect him to play better, but I'm just shocked at how many open threes he's just clanging off the rim. It's frustrating. I'm sure he's frustrated, and if he hits 1 or 2 of them, they probably win.
Hey, listen, man, don't tell KG that I don't think we can survive an off-shooting night by Malik Beasley. Because I know that was one of his things. He believed if we get the big game from Jalen and Duren, we can survive it. We've seen them win games, but realistically, what's been the large part of the recipes for this team winning games? It's been, especially against the New York Knicks, it's been Cade showing out. It's been Malik Beasley shimmies. What's one of the more iconic moments from this season before the playoffs, from regular season? It's Malik Beasley hitting the dagger 3 and waving goodbye in Madison Square. And that's what you need. This isn't a time where in the playoffs where everybody in a team on the other side that's more experienced than you, is a little bit more talented than you, has a coach that's been there, and in these situations, you can't have just certain components of your team going. Do I believe Cade Cunningham is good enough to lift them above and out of some of their slumps and over? I do, but with the way Tibbs is going to defend him, you're going to have to get the contributions from multiple other people who have been there all season. You don't get to the playoffs and survive and thrive as an underdog, as a number 6 seed in the playoffs by having your, realistically, since Jaden Ivey went down, your number 2 scorer slumping in the playoffs. You can't have that. And from behind the arc, it matters. Because if they believe that you're not hitting the shot from outside, they don't have to respond as quickly. They can pack the lane for Cade Cunningham, and we saw it be a little bit more difficult for him at the rim. When you look at the Knicks, this is one of the trends that I often look at, and it's swayed each and every game. The Detroit Pistons did rebound well, but when you talk about those hustle stats, they got punked. They got punked. Listen, the New York Knicks only had 11 turnovers. That's a really good stat for a playoff team. But beyond that, when you're looking at the points in the paint, they beat the Pistons 46-36. That's been the indicator of who's winning these games. And it shows. That's why the Pistons got 28 fouls to the New York Knicks 22 fouls. Is Jalen Brunson going to get his? Yes, so I'm not going to complain about that. F him still, but I'm not going to sit up here and complain about it because we know what it's going to be every time. What I'm seeing, though, is beyond that, there's 46 points in the paint to your 36 when you're the team that had a historic streak this year at outscoring your opponents. This is a part of your recipe that they didn't get done. And then when you take a look at those stocks, this is another thing that the Detroit Pistons generally are leading their opponents in on a per-game average. But the New York Knicks found a way as the 29th ranked team in blocks to get 7 blocks and 11 steals to the Pistons 6 steals and 4 blocks. These are the things that the Pistons thrive on, right? Transition offense. Number 2 team at turning steals into points. When those things aren't there for the Detroit Pistons, they're not going to win. These are indicative of the grit. Not that they're not playing tough. Not that they're not fighting and not that they're not battling. But when these things, when you're losing these battles, the Detroit Pistons are generally losing the game.
Yeah, and I think that's indicative, too, of the Knicks last night. I think last night was really the time where you saw the vision of what they believed that they could be in the offseason when they went after a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns, when they went after a guy like a Mikal Bridges, and overpaid or gave way too much for Mikal Bridges, by the way, but that's
bro, they trio usaged us to death.
They did.
Mikal Bridges, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson, absolutely. They just went on a usage fest. And that's just what it was. And the defense They couldn't. JB Bickerstaff is going to. When we talk about the chess match, he's going to have to do something to slow that. We obviously know Karl-Anthony Towns and Brunson, they're going to be in prime position to get there because they are beyond special players. But when you have Mikal Bridges going out there, and it's not just scoring, because he put up some points in the last game. It's how he was doing it. It was activity he was bringing to the game on both ends of the court, and he looked like a much more engaged player tonight. The Pistons didn't make the Knicks feel uncomfortable. Did they make them feel like it was a fight? Yeah. But you know what I saw? As the Pistons were shoving, I saw the Knicks shoving right back. They didn't look like the team that I had seen prior be outmatched from a physical standpoint. And you know what? Maybe sometimes you can get a few more heartbeats when the heart stops, but we know that you need the heartbeat there. This is where is Stu going to be ready for the next game? I think that is a pivotal thing because they sorely miss Isaiah Stewart in this game.
They 100% did, and you're right about it was definitely more balanced this time. It wasn't. And that's, I think, a concerted effort by the Knicks. But if they're winning the points in the paint battle, if they're like killing us in stocks by us, I mean the Detroit Pistons, absolutely,
they doubled us up.
Yes, and you're also getting 20 apiece from Bridges, Anunoby, Towns, and Brunson, and Bridges, Anunoby, and Towns are all shooting efficiently from behind the arc, and then you have Josh Hart, who I have to do a little bit of a mea culpa on this one. I'm not good at post game, so I maybe undersold the role that Josh Hart played last night. But 11 rebounds and 9 assists. That's what the Knicks are capable of doing. They are capable of having a starting five in which multiple people can kill you, and they did it last night. And then a guy like Josh Hart, who is more looking to do the dirty work while being the best rebounding guard in the NBA, while being a much improved playmaker to where he's second on the team in assists. Credit to the Knicks, credit to Thibodeau. I think they made a concerted effort to have a more balanced attack, and they did just that. We all agree that in Game 2, I give credit to Brunson for how he played, but we know Anunoby didn't do anything, Towns didn't do anything, and a lot of that had to do with Tobias on Towns and Cade on Anunoby. But also, I think the Knicks, we all know that there was too much just Brunson. Wasn't like that in Game 3, and they were able to win. They have the offensive firepower to actually be that balanced and be that good.
They do, but I do know this. You get Cade Cunningham going in that scoring column again, and he has the ability to affect things, to balance things out. But let's hear from JB Bickerstaff because you could tell he was annoyed with last night's loss. He definitely was, especially considering the fact that Game 1, they probably let one slip too. Let's hear from JB Bickerstaff.
JB, what's the mood of the team in the locker room right now? There's a lot in the atmosphere going for them. To lose like this could be pretty deflating. What are the guys feeling like right now?
We won't be deflated. Our guys are too committed to one another. We're not results driven. We'll show up Sunday and we're going to lay it on the line. We're going to fight like hell and see what happens. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and you see there, J.B. Bickerstaff and even Cade Cunningham. The one thing I know is this: J.B. Bickerstaff is bothered when they don't necessarily play up to the full standard. He's always bothered, and he talked about that in the press conference last night, but he did say this: oh, they're not folding at all. Cade Cunningham, the one thing I've appreciated about him, going out to All-Star weekend and being able to cover him amongst that, I wanted to see and Rod Beard, he's a guy that, as we started the Woodward Pistons platform, we wanted to see who these people were in between plays, who these people were on the bench when they're supporting their teammates, who they are in the community, who they are in their press conferences, who they are when they're amongst the other stars too. And Cade Cunningham is cool, calm, and collected. And last night, I got a sense of an individual who is ready to get back out there and do work. I think he knows that this series is going to call for him to score 30 to 35 points a game. That's the way that they've beat the Knicks. He's going to have to push the envelope. And honestly, even if the referees aren't going to give him those calls, and even if the Knicks are going to pack the paint, I do believe that there are a couple plays there. If J.B. Bickerstaff and co. are, film studying, which we know they are. They have an off day today, which means I do believe it's going to be a whole lot of film study to figure out what the Knicks did differently against Cade Cunningham. And to be able to get Cade back into the situations where the referees will call the call for him. Because there was a couple times I thought he could have gotten it. But it wasn't as kind of forthright and as obvious as it was in the prior game. And that's where JB Bickerstaff is going to have to kind of create some different looks and some different actions to get Cade Cunningham and a lot of this offense going back downhill so they can have an opportunity. And when you get there, Pistons hit the free throws. You talking about losing by 2 in a game where there were some important free throws even down the stretch.
Yeah.
I know it's just, some people say it's just 5 missed free throws, but you lost by 2.
Adds up. It definitely adds up. And I actually wanted, because we haven't probably discussed Cade enough considering he's the star, what is your opinion on the game that Cade Cunningham played last night? Because I think even on the Woodward Sports shows today, it's going to be a little bit split, with some people thinking he didn't do enough, with others thinking he didn't get enough calls. I think there's a little bit of both things can be true. Some people say that he needed to take over more. I think it's a very mixed bag even amongst our hosts, but what do you make of the way Cade played last night?
I thought he tried to take over more. He took 25 shot attempts, and if he's getting the free throw calls, if he's getting the foul calls, then some of those attempts go away as well. I believe you see Cade Cunningham, if he's getting the actual whistle he's supposed to, looking more like a player who's 10 of 20, 10 of 21 on the night, and probably hitting that 30 or 35 point mark. But instead, Cade Cunningham with only 3 free throw attempts, which we know in his career, this is something that he's going to have to play through. This is what the NBA has told him. Your superstar whistle, your star whistle, it's not going to be the same as everybody else's. So we can call it out as a factor. We know that, Tibbs went to the podium and was crying about that. I didn't see JB Bickerstaff or Cade Cunningham crying about it. So in my mind, they're just focused on going in and doing what they have to do to physically dominate this thing. And they've said it. If they're not going to call calls, then this bowl's better in our favor. You do want to see better balance. But when you look at what Cade Cunningham did in this game, he was a -4 and a plus-minus. But he put up 24 points, 10 of 25 shooting, which you want to see better efficiency.
For sure.
6 turnovers, some of those in some crucial, critical moments, which we've all talked about, including himself. Those have to be better. I think more than anything, those are the things that I'm going to look at, and I say, I would rather see that be better, even before people say certain efficiency numbers. But when you look at everything else, he did 11 assists, 7 rebounds, and the stocks last night. He put up 6, 2 blocks, and 4 steals. Cade Cunningham played tough. He played gritty. This is a series where, your numbers might not look the prettiest. And that's where I just want to know that these guys are going out there and fighting. And as Cade is realizing what type of whistle he will or won't get, adjust his game just a little bit. If he's getting downhill and they're not necessarily calling it, and the Knicks are packing in that lane, then you're going to have to start to rely a little bit more on getting to your pick and pops. His mid-range shots last night weren't pick and pops. They were more like he wanted to get downhill, saw the defense, then tried to spin. How many times do you remember Cade Cunningham getting to the lane and then trying to spin or put his back to the basket rather than come off the pick, hit him with how many times? Bro, the first 3 years of his first 2 seasons or 3 seasons, I always talked about his in and out hezzy off of the pick and roll into the mid-range. I didn't see that. I don't know if I saw one step-in mid-range jumper for Cade Cunningham, and you took 25 shots. And so that's what I want to see a little bit more of, getting him more to those spots at the elbow, free throw line extended off the elbow, to get him some cleaner looks with that free throw shot to loosen up that defense. Because the Knicks, they packed in that paint, and they paid a lot of attention to him and dared other people to beat them. Tim Hardaway got a lot of open shots that he cashed in on, and you're right. Malik Beasley hits 1 or 2 threes. These Pistons knock down their free throws. They have a great opportunity to be up 2-1 right now.
Yeah, and that's the crux of it, because I don't necessarily think that there was an issue with Cade's aggression or perceived lack thereof. It was just he was getting to the paint. It's just they were really trying to take that away from him. And he missed some shots, some layups, some ones that were contested, which he probably could have got called for fouls, and he didn't. Unfortunately, what's done is done. A lot of tough mid-range opportunities that weren't necessarily within the flow of how you usually see him take them. He's got to be better. He's got to hit more shots. I don't necessarily disagree with his mindset. I think he tried. I think he, more often than not, made the right basketball play, made some really impressive passes off of pick and rolls in the second half, even off of transition, that led to opportunities for guys like Jalen Duren. I'm not mad at that. I'm cool if every single time down the floor that Cade Cunningham makes the right basketball play. I'm not saying that he always did. I'm not saying that he didn't need to make more shots. But I don't have a problem with Cade Cunningham the way that he played. I think he tried to take it over. He's just 25 shots, you make 10 of them. It's not a winning formula. It's got to be better moving forward. Hopefully he can get more calls, and hopefully he can get less traffic when he drives to the paint.
It's interesting. You look at Jalen Brunson, and what's one of those things that I'm tracking that agitated me in game one, and then I was a lot happier in game two. It's the turnover battle and the assist to turnover battle between he and Cade Cunningham. And this is something as it relates to the maturation of Cade Cunningham's game. It's his first trip to the playoffs. This is something he's going to have to turn the tide on, because Jalen Brunson is back to Mr. One turnover now. He only had one turnover in last night's game. 9 assists, so that's even better than the first game where he had an 8-to-1 turnover assist ratio. And that was and then when you look at the 13 free throw attempts, that to me helps to skew those numbers. 9 to 20 from the floor. If he doesn't get that many free throw attempts, he's probably looking at a 9 for 23, 9 for 24 shoot night as well. And that's why I'm not that alarmed about Cade Cunningham's shooting efficiency. Cade Cunningham played a good game on the offensive side of the floor, and that's all you can ask for. It is the playoffs. These are our coaches going out there and making chess matches and making chess moves and such to try and take away the best of Cade Cunningham. And he still went out there and stuffed the stat sheet in terms of points responsible for another game, another 40+. Yeah. This is what you want out of a guy. If the ball's going to be in his hands, you want to know that your players that are around him have the best opportunity to score, right? When the ball's in his hands. That's what you want. And I do believe this. Cade Cunningham is one of those players, and the Pistons are going to have to be this team again. They bounce back from adversity. Mm-hmm. They bounce back. Cade Cunningham hates when he has losses, when he knows he could have affected the outcomes, especially when it's that close. He prides himself on trying to be a clutch player. He knows what it was during his rookie season. Even though they didn't win a lot of games, he still found himself in the top 5 in the NBA in clutch scoring. And so in this series where you know possessions are going to be at a premium, in this series where you know it's coming down now to the top guys that are going to have to get it done, this is where you definitely tip the cap to the type of series Cade's having right now. But you want to see him go out there and take it, like we all said prior, before the season starting, to that next level. You want to see him continue to keep it at, honestly, the level he had during the regular season against the Knicks.
And that's where game 4, I'm predicting the best game of the series for him. And I know that's easy to do it because I think we've done it for every single game, but this is absolute must win. You cannot, if the Pistons drop game 4, they're losing the series in 5. And that's not a hot take or anything like that. That would be devastating, not in the grand scheme of things, but in their chances to win this playoff series, especially with the first. That would continue the streak of home playoff wins would still be since 2008, and that certainly cannot happen. But you brought this up early. I don't think, and I know people hate it when I say anything nice about Jalen Brunson, I don't think he gets enough credit for how tight he is with his handles. He does not turn the ball over. He did in game 2, and that probably played a role in the reason why the Knicks lost.
Tracking it, bro.
But Jalen Brunson is one of those high usage guys. Like most high usage guys turn the ball over a lot. Even guys like Luka and LeBron and Giannis and whatnot. Jalen Brunson is like a 2.5 turnover per game guy throughout his entire Knicks tenure.
For his
that's
usage,
elite.
incredible.
That's incredible. And that's big. I think that actually plays a pretty big role. Like he's definitely more secure with the ball than Cade Cunningham is at this point in his career. I wonder if that has anything to do with why the stocks, there was such a disparity in the stocks. Obviously, the Knicks got their blocks, but the fact that Cade Cunningham is going to give you more opportunities for steals at this point in his career than Jalen Brunson.
And he gave them, though, more opportunities for blocks, too. Because Cade, trying to get downhill, there was a couple plays where he got blocked. I thought it was a foul. I thought it was clearly a foul.
100%.
But it is what it is. But you're right, Jalen Brunson, because I want to be fair. When you just talk about basketball, I hate the foul baiting part of it. But in terms of him being a point guard, taking care of the ball, that's why I started saying, bro, this is the stat that's going to agitate me. Because it does play a big role. The game they won, yeah. When you're disrupting their main usage ball handler, their main star, their point of attack from the offense, and he gave up 6 turns in game 2. That's taking away 6 opportunities for them to get anything going. And some of those were down the stretch. What if they did force 2 or 3 turnovers from Jalen Brunson down the stretch of this last game? They probably walk away with a dub. But his handle was so tight, he's able to play with the physicality and utilize his strength. I don't even understand it sometimes, to bounce off somebody in the paint and get that stupid little off the glass shot to go. And it's just like, you know what? All you can really do is tip the cap to him in those instances, because he's making a lot of tough shots. And despite the Pistons playing really aggressive defense, he's finding ways, at least in games 1 and games 3, to hold on to the rock. The Pistons, this is one where we talked about it. What is the Pistons' recipe for success on the defensive side? Making the other team uncomfortable, pushing the other team out of sorts. If they're not, you look at game 2, what happened? They took the aggressiveness of Cat away. They just, you're a non-factor. And with Brunson, they forced him into turnovers. In game 3, they reversed that. And the Pistons are going to have to scheme something up to get back into that. They're going to have to make those stars very uncomfortable, because if not, they've shown you now those 2 guys can beat you.
They can. It's unfortunate. All you have to do, and obviously watching the game is more important, but all you really have to do is look at the box score. In games 1 and 3, Cat was incredible and Jalen Brunson didn't turn the ball over. In game 2, Cat was a ghost and Jalen Brunson uncharacteristically turned the ball over. Hopefully in game 4, you'll see better defense on Jalen. I don't think the defense was necessarily bad. What's unfortunate, though, is that because Jalen Brunson is so much better at getting to his spots and finishing than I think we even will admit, it causes Asar, I think, to be overly aggressive, and he got called for some ticky-tack ones on Jalen Brunson as well. And unfortunately, if the refs are calling that, I don't know if I have a lot of faith in Asar Thompson playing a lot of minutes the rest of the series.
That's my question there. Yeah. Is that where, like, because you're talking about the chess matches, is that where the strategy is? You have to get Asar Thompson in this series.
Yeah.
You have to. I'm looking at even Ron Holland in his limited minutes and what his athleticism is doing. He doesn't have the strength, the athleticism, or even what seems like the full court speed of an Asar Thompson. That's where I'm like, is there something J.B. Bickerstaff can do to put Asar Thompson in a better position? Because one of the things, I'm going to say this again, 3 games in foul trouble for Asar Thompson. I would rather see us roaming Asar. I just would. If these guys are going to get theirs, Brunson and Cat, I would rather see Asar Thompson be on the floor to give us a little bit more minutes, 30 minutes, closer to 30 minutes than the 18 that he's basically getting fouled out of these games. I think one of them was like freaking 14 or 15 minutes, and he was fouled out. You can't keep running it back the same way. I believe that that's one of the chess pieces that you're going to have to move. I know that you don't want to surrender having Jalen Brunson have life any easier, but my man went out there in 2 games now that Asar Thompson was the primary defender and put up a lot of points, got a lot of free throws, only gave up 1 turnover. And so we need Asar Thompson out there. We need, especially if Stu isn't there, that's where I thought it was a great opportunity to say, let's have Asar more or less roam, because we know that he can help to make things a little bit more difficult in the paint.
You've been preaching that even before I was preaching that. And honestly, you're right, because I don't know if Asar is honestly capable of guarding Jalen Brunson without fouling. If the refs are going to call it like that, the way the refs are calling it, yeah, that's trust me. I was going to finish with that. But one thing about Asar, though, do we, and not killing anybody for this, I just have to ask the question: should Asar have played more in the fourth quarter? Or I don't even think he played at all in the fourth quarter, because he only had 4 fouls. He didn't have 5. Should they have at least put him out there more so that he can, if he gets 5, you sit him down again?
I feel like Asar Thompson is one of those guys who, if you're struggling in the half court, he gives you an opportunity to not. He cuts, he dives. Yeah. It's one dribble from the 3-point line, and he can lay it up. Pick and rolls. I don't freaking know where's the Cade Asar pick and rolls that I saw during like the first 5 games of his career.
Game 4. Gotta see him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where are these runs? Where's getting him into offensive action? So much is put on what we thought we needed defensively out of him, when we really didn't have that for some of the recipes when we beat the Knicks before. What we had was good offensive cohesion and still tough-minded, gritty defense from everybody across the board. I thought we got that last night. I did. I thought we got good, tough-minded defense. The problem is sometimes offense also puts pressure on a team. Offense also, with the way that Asar Thompson plays, can put fouls on a team. Yeah. Remember, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges and those guys, you look back to the last game, those guys were having some troubles with consistency because those guys were also getting foul calls. OG Anunoby. And that to me matters. And so I'm hoping they find a way, strategy-wise, to, you don't take Asar completely away from Jalen Brunson, but if he gets 2 fouls in the first quarter and you're bringing him back in the second quarter with those 2 fouls, just let him roam. Just let him roam, man.
Yep, Asar Thompson has averaged 21 minutes a game in this series, and last night he had 18. In a perfect world, you're going to have to get more than that. And the funny thing is, in Game 2, where they really had no choice, he actually fouled out. Of course, they win that game. It's basketball, NBA basketball, even though some people trash it, it is a funny game, and you win in a variety of different ways. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. But what would make sense is more minutes for Asar. You got to find a way to try to do it. I don't hate the idea of roaming more because it doesn't seem like him being on Brunson is necessarily advantageous right now. In a perfect world, yes, but Brunson's also, he's really good at stopping on a dime too and just baiting. And I get it, people don't like me giving credit for that, but he knows what he's doing out there, man. It's not by accident.
It's an overly aggressive defender, man. JB, let's play those fan videos. We'll just play those back to back to back because I know we got to get to everybody's favorite segment as well. So let's play those back to back to back. And just before, obviously a lot of what we talked about is effectively the preview, but how are you feeling about Game 4? We know it is a must-win. What is that game prediction for you?
Honestly, and I said this on the postgame show last night, double-digit Pistons win. They come out with a sense of urgency that the Knicks just don't have. Even though the Knicks could really put the death grip on, I just think the Pistons, with their energy, the fact that they still have more depth than potentially Isaiah Stewart coming back, this is one where they get on early and don't really let up. The Knicks might make a run to cut it to maybe 9 in the fourth quarter, but the Pistons end up pulling away and winning this one by double digits. It's not a slappy thing. It's more of a series flow thing. A dub's a dub's a dub, but I think the Pistons will come out with peak urgency.
Yeah, peak urgency, and that's what we saw out of the Knicks as well. Like I said, how can they handle those flurries? The Knicks looked like a desperate team last night. They looked like a decidedly focused team who knew if we falter one bit, we lose this game, we lose this series. And they knew that, and they lost, and they only won by 2 points. And you see the effort that they put up, And so I believe that a flurry by the Detroit Pistons, they actually have enough on their offense. If they get their guys going, a Malik Beasley going, I do believe this Detroit Pistons team has the opportunity to do what you're saying, but I do believe it's still going to be close. I'm looking at this one being one where they grind it down again, where they try to slow down that pace, where they try to play off of Cade Cunningham, not just pick and rolls and him on ball, but also get us some Schroeder and Cade minutes so Cade can do some off-ball sets and stunts. Get him in some pick and roll actions where he can do some back to the basket things against Mikal Bridges, make those guys work against the Josh Hart, make those guys work and try and get fouls on them and try and press really getting into the penalty. But I do have the Detroit Pistons winning this game 111-105.
All right, well, that's a good score. I guess I'll give my score prediction then. 120-107.
Woo,
and like I said, it's not a slappy thing, it's a series flow thing. I mean, we've all seen this watching playoff basketball. You're seeing it this year. The Lakers couldn't fall down 0-2 to the Timberwolves at home, so they ramped up their game, specifically their defense. You could say the same thing with the Rockets against the Warriors. And I know that Jimmy Butler got hurt, but it was looking like it was going to be a pretty comfortable Rockets win regardless. And Jalen Green woke up to the tune of 38, where in Game 1 he was terrible. Even the Memphis Grizzlies last night, even though they blew it and they gave it up, they came out and took a 26-point lead at halftime because of the urgency. They had to win that game or else they were finito. They are finito because they ended up losing, but that urgency can really carry you through. It's a tale as old as time in the playoffs. Series flow is one of the most fascinating things in all of sports, in my opinion, because it just always rears its ugly or pretty head, depending on who you're rooting for.
But no, KG.
Yeah, I don't think the Pistons should be worried at all, because when you look at just the series of offensive runs between the both of these teams, they were like going back and forth. This series has been the definition of back and forth. And while they didn't play their best game, I don't think they need to be worried at all. They got everything that they need. I just need a better showing defensively from this Pistons team, because while they did play physically, and you do admire the fact that they went out there and put forth an effort, it just wasn't good enough. You had 4 starters for the Knicks finishing with 20 or more points. While that can play into your favor because they're going to get tired, you're not really seeing a lot of those reserves coming in the game. They're putting it on their backs to go out there and beat the Pistons. I do think you have the advantage in that regard. So I just would like a better defensive showing. And of course, you just need more from other people on this team. Malik Beasley has been struggling. He did.
Are you ready?
Yeah. The Accountant 2 is undeniably awesome.
Again, it'd be the Tobias Harris that we saw in the first 2 games. And Cade, while I don't think Cade played a bad game at all, you cannot come up here and say that he did. I just would like to, I guess in certain situations, especially late in games, play more hero ball, especially on a night where Dennis Schroeder and Tim Hardaway Jr. are the only other people providing offense for this team. So, but I got the Pistons winning 108-104. I think they find a way to bounce back in this next game. You're still at home. You still have that crowd behind you. You're not going to get the calls, and I'm not even going to get into what I feel about the calls. I'm not going to put the whole game on the calls, however, because you didn't play good enough to win. But I think they come back. They play good enough defense to win this game, and you get a better offensive showing, maybe from a Malik Beasley and other people on this team.
I like that, man. What up, though, JB Smooth, and then Cavassier, we'll let you round it out.
I mean, credit to this Pistons team. Last night showed you that they're scrappy, and that environment last night shows that also New York Knicks, you're walking into a hostile area, because it's been a long time since we've seen playoff basketball, and I'll tell you, last night it looked like a fight. It honestly, every possession just seemed like a scrap. Credit to this Pistons team. They were giving an all-out effort, except for Tobias Harris. But anyway.
Chill out.
But anyway, like KG said, you can't even fault Cade for this at all. He tried the best he could to put this team in the right position, if anything. And I think this next showing, like you said, this is do or die. You need this win right here. So honestly, this is an all-out effort for this team. Give me Pistons 115, Knicks 102.
All right,
like
double-digit victory, like I say.
I like that.
Very nice.
Cavassier?
I don't have an exact score prediction, but I definitely have the Pistons bouncing back in this next game. It was such a close game, even with, like JB said, the lack of effort, and performance from Tobias Harris. You had classic Tobias in the playoffs. So just
5 fouls.
It was like
after one
game.
It
was like a reverse Godfather, KG. Just when I thought I was in, he pushed me right back out.
That's your ass.
Yeah.
Hey, Tobias. It's a tough game out there, man. The Knicks ain't no slouches, dog.
Even America. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean, you had the same minutes.
Was the greatest
Duren
opening
and
lines
did
in the
less.
movie.
I hear you, Al Pacino, though. Go ahead.
Same minutes as Duren, just did
But
less.
yeah, like he did the reverse Godfather last night. Hoping he bounces back. I'm not completely off the ship, but definitely gotta do more to be more of a number 2 for Cade, at least in the starting unit, because obviously we're seeing a little bit of a slump from Malik Beasley, but hopefully he bounces back in this next game, can shoot the ball a little bit better, and then hopefully we see a healthy Stu, at least getting, even if it's just limited action. I think him out there for even 10 to 12 minutes, bless you, T-Foss, would be enough to help, stifle Cat a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. And you know what? Hey, chat, put what you think is going to happen. Let's hear from those fans, and then we'll say what up to some people, and we can get the people some what's trending today.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, let's rock. Let's rock.
Tell the people who we with right now.
Hey, from California, man. LA, I watch him every day, man.
Hey, tell the people your name.
Izana, man. Izzy. Izana Abraham.
That's right. And what the Pistons gonna do tonight?
We're going about to blow out them Knicks, man.
Let's go.
Blow out them Knicks.
Let's go.
Damn right.
Let's go. Let's go.
Baby.
And who you rocking tonight? And you got 2 jerseys.
The GOAT.
Chauncey Billups and the other point guard.
Hey, the GOAT one day, man. I do Kate Cunningham. Let's go. In the making, man.
Let's rock. Hey, thank you for the
I watch
support.
that all the time, man. Every day.
Let's rock. What up, dog, man?
What up, though, man? How you doing, man?
How how's that environment feeling?
Bro, it's feeling great, man. Outside is amazing. It's gonna get even better outside. I'm so excited, man.
You got your back to work shirt on?
Yeah, man, we back to work, man. Everyone better be wearing this shirt, bro. We super excited, man.
Let me get the Pistons, let's go. Let me get some love.
Yeah, what's up? This is Let's Go, baby.
Let's go. That's right. Thank
Let's go Pistons!
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Beat the Knicks. Hey, give me your final score prediction. Because I'm hearing some people out here, a lot of fans in the building, they're saying it's a blowout tonight.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go 110-99 Pistons.
Let's go, man. Y'all heard it here first.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
With my
Detroit
boy
Pistons,
Kool-Aid.
let's go.
Let's go.
Appreciate
Beat
you,
the
bro.
Knicks. Hell yeah.
Beat the Knicks.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
Hey, man, I appreciate
Go Pistons! And fuck you, Jalen Brunson.
That one blew up on social.
Yeah, it
Shout out to
did.
JB cooking up, man. And I know the heavies, Nick and some of the others from the squad, they got out and they got a lot of content amongst the people because Detroit was buzzing yesterday. And the only thing that would have made this better, honestly, is if the Pistons got a win, and for some people, if Brad Holmes drafted an edge rusher.